So, for today's video, I thought that we could do a little May reading wrap up, as well as a little June TBR books I want to try to pick up and read in June, since I didn't read too much in May, but enough that I wanted to make a video and talk about it. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. The first book that I read in May, I technically started reading in June and finished in May, so it counts as a May read, and that is Empire of the Damned. If I'm looking off to the side, it's because I'm looking at my story graph, because that's my book tracker. So, I read Empire of the Damned. I finished it May 2nd, and it is the second book in the Empire of the Vampire trilogy that I have shown a couple times, because I do have the physical copy, and I've shown it a couple times in previous videos, but we're going to do some Kindle tapping today. So, this series, I guess, is about an interview with a vampire hunter, the last vampire hunter in the world, and the vampires have taken over the world, and they are interviewing this last vampire hunter because he has information that they want. Is the most broad thing that I could explain, broad summary that I can explain about this book. I really liked the first book. I've been looking for a gritty, dark vampire book for a long time, and this is it. I will say, this is it. This book is very gritty, very dark, very gritty, very Dark Souls-esque. It does not hold back in terms of like death, violence. Just it does not hold back, and I appreciate that. Like, truly, that is what I was looking for when I was going into a vampire book, and I've been looking for a dark vampire book. A lot of people say Jay Kristoff, the author, is very edgelord writing, and yes, he is edgelord writing a bit. They're like, it's very boy humor sometimes, and it is very edgelord, dark to be dark, because that's sort of the aesthetic type of writing. But honestly, it's vibe, okay? Like, as long as you know what you're going into, I can't fault it. I read it. I can't say anything else about the book because it's the second in the series, and that's going to be spoiler. But I did rate this a 4.5. Let me see my review. Right. The storytelling in this book is in the series is very unique to anything that I've read. It's being told in the format of, like, the vampire hunter Gabriel, the main character, is telling us the story, but we're not the interviewer, we're just watching it. We're watching him tell the story. If that makes sense. Did that make sense? I don't think it made sense, but I've never read a story like this before. And I guess that can bring me to the next book that I read right after this. I think you can guess. The third book, Empire of the Dawn. The third and final book in this trilogy. I finished this book May 11th, 2026, and it has 767 pages. It is a huge book. Yeah, so I read it in like 2 weeks. Yeah. also can't really say much about this book. The third book, let me see my review. Oh, I remember. I originally rated this one 4.5 as well, straight after reading or finishing it. But after sitting on it for a while, I changed it to a 4-star. But I will say overall, I think I would give the series a 4.25. I really enjoyed it, but this last book was not bad. It was just the ending, and I truly cannot say anything else because it is going to spoil. And I am an avid spoiler for myself. I love looking up endings of things that I have yet to finish. I just like to know or sort of get the vibe, see what I'm going into. I don't know why. Not just for books, for movies, for TV shows. I don't know. But I went into this series just trying not to spoil myself and see what the ending is. Because the whole plot is, what does Gabriel, the main character, know that the vampires want to know? And that's the whole story. So I really kept I behaved. I did not look it up. And the ending, yikes is all I have to say. This was a long book, and overall I think a lot of the battles were really good, not just in this book, but in the whole series. The battles were really good, but towards the last couple of battles, it was sort of becoming a slog. Like, we knew what was gonna happen. We knew what was coming. Why are we taking so long, you know? Yeah, I don't know. What else about it? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. I do think about this series often. I really enjoyed it. But man, that ending was not good. Trying to think, there was something else I had to say about this one. Oh my goodness, what was it? Just I guess in this series overall, because I think this was mainly, I said this in my review for the second book, but things would always go wrong for the characters, and that's fine, whatever, but it would be so, like, comical when it would happen so much that like mid-book 2, also book 3, like, it's just comical at this point. Like, I was just expecting things to go wrong in the next page, and they did, and that's not a bad thing. I found it funny, but it's like nothing was going wrong or right for these characters. So it just, yeah. And speaking of the characters, they were just like, all of them at one point I hated all of the characters, but then, like, I would also just love them. I cried in this book. I did multiple times. I was gonna say twice, but it has to be more. I did cry during this book. But then we just get to the ending, and I'm just like, I hope you guys experience it. If you want to read this book, I hope you guys experience it, and then tell me how you feel about the ending, because I didn't like it. So 4 stars for Empire of the Dawn, 4.25 for the whole series. Okay. The next book that I read is actually an audiobook. And this was very spur of the moment. I was just browsing on Spotify, and I saw Yesteryear, and I think I saw Haley Jean ASMR talk about it. So I was a bit intrigued. So Yesteryear is a book about a influencer, a trad wife influencer, and she's pretty big on Instagram. And then one day she wakes up in the 1800s in a cabin, like actually having to live the trad wife life. The way I explained this to my friends was like, yeah, it's an isekai. Basically, she just wakes up one day in a whole new life, and yeah, I gave this book a 3.25 stars. I think I went into this book with the wrong expectations, because on Storygraph, the genres that it says that I'm looking at right now is fiction, literary, thriller, dark, mysterious, tense. And that is not, I was not expecting thriller, dark, mysterious. I was expecting like not fun isekai, but like more of a her living more as an influencer trad wife. And then like I thought it was going to be she's in the 1800s and then she would have like a flashback to when she was trad wife and more study of that, like her living her actual trad wife life and how that's how she was impacting her family, how just more influencer. But instead it was more of a character study of her as a person, how she became an influencer, why trad wife. Yeah, I did not like it. I didn't like it. It felt like a caricature of, like, okay, I don't know, but it felt like a very liberal person making a caricature of a trad wife influencer, you know. I don't know. Is it like the whole time I was like, is this satire? This has to be satire. I think it's satire. And then like a couple other times I was like, okay, but like people actually think this way. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know. I think the main thing is that I was disappointed that it wasn't exactly what I expected. And I think that's just on me because I had a completely wrong idea of what the book was about. Oh my god, this hair is just irritating me. Okay. Let me see my review. Yeah, I thought we'd spend more time with her as an influencer. I get that it's satirical, but it feels a bit short-sighted. I don't know. Also, the ending was weird. The ending was really unbelievable and was just sort of crazy almost. And just unbelievable. The crazy was truly just not believable. It was weird. And this book made me realize that I think I dislike reading books about women going crazy and spiraling and just going crazy. I don't like it. I didn't like hearing her inner monologue. I didn't like seeing whatever it was unfold. It was weird to me. And I don't know, watching women spiral don't make me feel good. It's, like reading it just doesn't make me feel good. Yeah. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say about that book. Did I say who the book is by? Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke. And I listened to that on audio. 3.25 stars. I will say I finished it really fast. I finished it in like 2 days. I was hooked. I will give it props. That's why it is a 3.25. Like I was hooked, but it just wasn't what I expected. Next book that I read in May, and I finished on May 25th, is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. Starling House is a book about a small town that has had a lot of people gone missing or have died, and the one consistent thing in this town is the Starling House, and it's a big, like, spooky, haunted looking mansion. And yeah, I truly don't know how else to explain the book. Let me see. Yeah. We follow our female main character, Opal. And she's just sort of struggling in life. She's raising her brother all by herself. And she just happens to go to Starling House. And she meets the last heir of the house, Arthur Starling. And she gets a job at the house, and things go from there. I liked this book. I read it on audio, and I had a lot of things that I appreciated about this book. One being that Opal, like Opal and Arthur are in their mid-20s. I think Opal's like 25. I was like, yes, like this feels great. I like these people are my peers. And they were making decisions that I feel like I wouldn't make. Like, it just made sense. Very relatable. I really liked the writing. It was very beautiful. A lot of people say that this is like a goth-ish story, goth vibe. Meh. When I think of goth story, I think of like One Dark Window, The Night and the Moth. This was like, sure, I guess the house is sort of goth, but like, no, not to me. Oh, yes, I feel like I don't usually read fantasy books, like on audio, because, I think it's very easy to get lost, especially with world building and new terms, and sometimes there's maps, so I would very much go to the front of the page, or like go refer to the map, and you just can't do that in audiobooks. But this is takes place in Kentucky, I think, like a small town in Kentucky or something like that. So it wasn't that hard to follow things. Like, Opal worked at Ace Hardware, I think, or something like that. So there wasn't like crazy world building or anything. I really liked the characters. I think they were very realistic, very relatable. I liked the relationships between the characters. I think they're all very beautiful. I liked how historical the book was. There was like footnotes, and there was a lot of history added into this town, and it didn't feel like the author was trying to be woke or anything. Like, the history was actually relevant to the plot and the story. So I thought that was really interesting. I will say, I think the book was a bit too long. Towards the last 20 and 30% of the book, I was like lost. I had no idea what was happening. I didn't like that part. That's sort of why it's not even a 4. It was a 3.75. I also think, since this is like a romance subplot, I also think that if I read the book physically, I would find the main male character, like the main love interest, I would have found him more attractive, but he was just a guy to me. like when I was listening to it, he was just a guy, because it was just the lady with a man voice, a deeper voice. So I was just sort of like, meh, yeah, he's cool, I guess. But I didn't dislike him. I didn't dislike really any of the characters. It was mainly just the ending. Once again, what's up with these books and the endings? And I thought it was a bit long, so 3.75. Alrighty. The last book that I read in May is actually a DNF. Blood at the Root by Ladarian Williams. Blood at the Root. So, this was actually a blind date with a book that I got at from a local vendor. I cut this out from the wrapper, the little library card. So it says fantasy, magical school, hidden legacy, and ancestry, found family, dark academia, fantasy. My type of vibe, you know. And you could also pick some goodies. So I got a little possum for Nadpod. She had possums. I got some penguin sticky notes. And I got latte, frappe, vanilla, little drink mix. And I also got, I think the bookmark is in here. I got a really cute bookmark. It's so cute. So yeah, I DNF'd this at like chapter 4. I think I just took it out of chapter 4. But the book looks cool. This book is about what's the name of our main character? What's the name of, I think it's Malik. This book is about Malik, our main character. And he has magical powers. And he gets invited to this basically HBCU for magic. It's Hogwarts HBCU. And that is all I can tell you. That is all I can tell you. Let me go see my notes about this because I had a lot of notes about this. Alrighty. I strongly disliked the writing. And I will first, I will preface this by saying I feel weird about disliking this book, but I think my opinions are valid, and I'm not trying to diss on, I think this is someone's debut novel, and obviously they're coming from a place of love with trying to, especially with the little author's note, this author was trying to make a Harry Potter-esque book for black people and people like him. He wishes that he saw himself in some of these books that reading growing up. So I appreciate that. And I love that. But this was not good. This felt like reading a first draft. And I wonder who edited this and who okayed it, because it just wasn't written well. A lot of my notes are literally sentences that I just could not get past. The first note, and I think about this often. The first quote is, "Fast and Furious style. I put this bitch in reverse and sharply peel out there faster than a runaway slave." Yeah, yeah. Okay. And I was saying, when I first started reading it, I was like, okay, I just don't think I like a lot of slang and casual speak in books. Like, is that what it is? Am I the boomer? Am I the boomer? But some of these, like, I really cannot get past. Like, some things just didn't make sense the way they were written. I just really think my issue was with this book was that it felt like the author was really trying. It felt like a white person writing and trying to seem black. It was odd. It was very much like pushing and pushing and pushing black culture, but it wasn't well done at all. It wasn't done. It just wasn't done well. In books that I have read that I can think of that exhibit black culture so much better is The Hate U Give, for example. And I don't remember having that issue reading The Hate U Give. Like, the writing felt more natural, and this felt so forced. It felt really truly like a first draft. I'm reading other quotes that I wrote, and this was only me reading up to 10%, and I had like more than 10 quotes that I took note of. One of the quotes I wrote, "And his ass knocks again. I'd gotta use my magic on his ass." Like, yeah, one of my notes was, "Why have things been referred to as that bitch within the past couple of paragraphs? It's so overbearing." And I really thought that I could get through it. I was like, maybe the writing will grow on me. It was just so hard to get through. Yeah, this just was not well written at all, and I'm really sad because when I bought The Blind Date with a Book, the vendor was like, "Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite books. I hope you like it." Girl, this is like bad. This is not well written at all, and the author's a playwright, so I'm really confused. Yeah, maybe it's just not my kind of writing. But I hope this is someone's Harry Potter. I'm glad you're seeing. I will say, like, my equivalent in me talking myself like it's okay that I feel this way about this book is like if I read the equivalent book but it was a Filipino book and they just kept like saying like Filipino things like lumpia, like that. No, like, it's just cringe to me. It's just cringe. And culture can be written and portrayed way better than whatever this is. Do me. That was really long-winded, but I will do a quick go through of some of the books that I want to get to in June. I do have, I think, 2 or 3 Frida McFadden books books that I have checked out on Libby. They're just so quick and easy to get through, and I haven't read a Frida McFadden book in a while. And a bunch of her books, especially her recent ones, became available on Libby recently. So I checked out a bunch of those. I also want to read Chain Gang All Stars. I've heard so many good things about this book. I believe, honestly, I'm not even going to say what I think it's about because I don't really know what it's about. All I know is that I think people are in prison and they are trying to Hunger Games their way out. I don't really know. I just know it's in a prison. But I want to get into this book. It's pretty short. I feel like I could get through it in 3 to 4 days if I log in. But I want to see the hype. Another book that I want to get into is Stiff by Mary Roach. This book is about cadavers. It's just my little special interest. Okay. The next book that I want to reread actually is The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I just want a good fantasy, and I've been wanting to reread this book again to see if I like it again. And I remember the ending had me shook to the core. Did not see this coming. And I do have the second book in this series, so I want to try to read that as well. Then, a book that I've been wanting to get to for so long is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I've heard so many good things, and there's a beautiful Barnes & Noble edition of this book, so I hope I love this book so that I can get that Barnes & Noble edition because it looks so good. I believe this is about Knights at the Round Table, but make it modern. I don't know. That's all I know. Main character is magic. Maybe this will be my replacement for Blood at the Root because, oh my god, I need something. So yeah, those are all of the books that I read in May,